Yeah! Welcome to another episode of the 5ASIDE podcast. Today you are joined by
Josh,
Gabe,
Kendrick.
What's up? Seb?
Jeremy. Let's clap it up for our special guest.
yes, sir.
We have a very special guest in the building today, MLS player Jeremy Ebobisse. So thank you so much for coming through to New York, all the way from the West Coast to kick it with us, bro. Really, really appreciate it.
You know what it is? Proud to be in the hot take machine. You know, I see
The hot take machine.
I like
all
that.
over Instagram. You know,
Hey, man.
finally got the invite. You know,
That's true.
So,
It is.
here to get the hot takes out of you, honestly.
I don't have any hot takes. I'm here to support y'all on your hot takes.
I promise you, when you come on this show, they'll start coming to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I never really even
Just-
thought of
just
that,
starts-
but you know.
yeah.
Stick to eating basketballs, which is an actual hate comment that we did receive. Literally, stick to eating basketballs. We're gonna have a whole
I do
hate
remember
comment
that.
segment, bro. I went through
remember that
a
one.
bunch of posts,
I do remember that one.
That was a good
Who
one.
they said that to though?
They say we need
All of us.
permission to speak on the sport, like it's actual jokes, bro.
Yeah.
Good.
Eating basketball is probably one of the craziest.
Eat a basketball? It's
There's so
absolutely
many levels.
Hey, you guys are doing something right if someone's coming at you like that.
Yeah.
That's facts.
Facts.
That's
You got
facts.
the irrational, comebackless
That's
trolls on you, then
Facts.
you're rising.
You're rising. An impact has been made.
For sure. But before we get into your journey as a professional baller, we always have to have our question of the week.
Yep.
So shout out Golimpico for these amazing t-shirts. So our question of the week is, who is the best player on this t-shirt, or who is your favorite player on this t-shirt? So what we have here in a beautiful stained glass format, we have Johan Cruyff, Eric Cantona, R9, Zinedine Zidane, Thierry Henry, Ronaldinho, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Lionel Messi. So either tell me who the best player on the shirt is, or who your favorite player on the shirt is.
It's hard.
Who wants to start? I know Josh's answer.
No, I
Let's be
don't.
real. We weren't even born when half these people were in their primes, but
This is true.
we going
couple
back.
of them,
We going back for sure.
No, we go back.
I can start.
Get it?
Regardless, no matter my age or what I know about the game, there's no one who has more cultural impact than Ronaldinho. So for me, it has to be him. That's my answer.
It's debatable.
The hot takes coming.
Yeah, I mean, Messi and Ronaldo.
Cultural
No
impact.
more cultural impact.
Cultural,
What is cultural? How though?
cultural, like on the field, off the field,
Everything. Yeah.
All right, so you're just gonna give absolutes as your response?
So
That is in fact exactly what I will be doing.
I think
Okay.
one thing you can say, you can say it for everybody, but Dino's place in the game, like within culture, nobody could have done that.
I would like you to, I challenge you to give me someone that has had more cultural impact than Dino.
Like in a
Okay.
Dino
Trying to think
way.
of my argument.
In a Dino way.
Don't just
The
accept
manner,
it.
man.
Okay.
The reason why it's tough is because Dino had a big impact culturally, even in like the sportswear, sporty fashion
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
type of, like that's the one thing that he has over a lot of other people. But then Beckham was going crazy with the sports fashion, streetwear fashion. So it's kind of like,
I agree, but I think that Beckham, his impact was a bit more, I guess, like contained. Whereas I feel like Western contained, sure, but I think that Ronaldinho, his play style was so intertwined with the impact and the way that people remember him
course.
that also the vibes were a bit better.
The
And I think
smile.
just off the fact that he provided, his brand was happiness. His brand was smiling, dancing, this, that. I think just off the fact that his brand was more marketable, it's more impactful.
Being Brazilian changed.
Or
the
being
team.
Brazilian.
more marketable.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
That's
agree with
actually
it.
debatable.
I don't know if I agree
Debate
with
it.
that.
That's
but
why
I
we have a
get
podcast,
that.
yeah.
Wasn't it? Didn't he have the first YouTube video that hit 1 million doing the
Yeah.
crossbar thing?
Yes. Yeah.
And we were just talking about when we was at SoccerX recently, Nike and Yoga Bonito, and how they emphasize the Brazilian national team to a different point.
For sure.
We can get into that. I don't know about, you said best and favorite, or
Best or favorite?
I like the favorite is obviously y'all know how I feel about Messi. Messi.
How do you feel about Messi?
you don't like him.
Nah, I despise him. Nah, he's definitely my favorite on the shirt. And I don't know, this could be like recency,
Bias.
recency
Yeah,
bias.
yeah.
But the more and more, like I've been hearing more about Messi and whatnot, the more I'm like, I think his influence might be like the craziest. Because regardless of like how old he's gotten, he still has so many like young fans who are like, Messi's the GOAT. Like the other day we had a St. Benedict's prep. The players from that high school came to the office and we spoke to them, showed them around. And we asked them to introduce themselves and say their favorite player. These are like 14, 15, 16-year-old. 90% of them said Messi. And like, for him to be at like of the generation that he is, and even like the youngest kids are still saying like it's Messi.
Yeah.
Who else has that type of influence that span like multiple generations
For sure.
to that degree?
Because who would be the equivalent player for us?
Yeah.
Like probably some guys on that shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, a little less deep than Sebastian. Sebastian went all in. You know, no warm up. You know, he's just
He does, bro. Welcome to the big league.
Just
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think best Messi. I've been private about this for years. You know, I was on
We got the inside
inside
scoop.
I'm glad you're feeling comfortable.
That's what we do at 5ASIDE. Make us guys
I was on the Ronaldo. You know, I was advocating on Ronaldo's behalf because you know he's captivating in the way he plays as well. And it felt like he was the villain a lot of times. Like you know, Messi was painted as, you know, the the image that Messi had. It was
sure.
curated in a way that.
He was a good guy.
Yeah,
he was a good guy.
everything he
humble.
did the right way
Yeah.
with a lot of humility.
Yep.
And you could really admire that.
The guy you're
objectively-
supposed to root for.
Yeah, objectively speaking, it's beautiful.
Definitely.
And to have him kind of in our league nowadays,
Yeah.
and to see him up close and to hear about like how his teammates talk about him, you just know that was all true, right? Like the way he's friendly, the way he brings other teammates into the fold on and off the field, you're just like, that's a role model
Yeah.
right there. Humility, 8 Ballon d'Ors, and he's still doing this.
Yeah.
You know, at a time when people think that he might not be. So I always got the fence. I was like, nah, I want this to be a debate, you know. I don't wanna, so I'm always out here defending Ronaldo growing up. But
Fair.
no, I think Messi's probably the best on that shirt. And then favorite for me is Zizou. Born in France. You know, I think my family was there during the '98 World Cup when they won.
That's
So
crazy.
just a big impact on my family, and support the French national team alongside Cameroon and eventually the U.S. as I got more integrated into this country. So, you know, gotta give love to Zizou.
Honestly.
Yeah,
That's real.
I'll agree. I mean, for me, best midfielder ever. So, definitely one of my favorite players. Also, as a Real Madrid fan, can't go away from Zizou. But then, speaking of defending Ronaldo, I gotta defend Ronaldo on this shirt. I will remind y'all he had more goals than games when he came to Real Madrid from Manchester United. As the world record transfer fee and all the pressure on the world for him to do it.
Okay.
Madrid had not won the Champions League since 2002. He left with 5 of them things. Or excuse me, 4. Which he did in a 5-year span, including a 3-peat, multiple Ballon d'Ors, already said more goals in games, the pretty boy image, football's first billionaire, the most followed person on Instagram.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
The lifestyle, the Bugattis, the
I
Rollies,
didn't realize this was.
the watch is worth more than a mansion. Like we're talking about cultural impact from just like
I mean,
Oh no!
the rapper flexing shit.
Don't do that! Don't do that!
No,
Yes,
no. I'm
don't do
talking
that.
about like
Don't do
the
that.
modern day flexing shit.
No, don't do
actually,
that.
Like
I will
Dre talking about him in songs, like he got it, bro.
I'm crying. Nah. The cultural relevancy thing, if we wanted to take it on
Ronaldo?
the pitch.
No. Don't-
Bringing
Even
women
if
into
you
the sport
wanna-
too, who didn't give a fuck.
Hold on.
Wait.
Hold.
What do you mean by
No,
that?
yeah, before we get
Yeah,
there.
what?
Before we get
What do you
there.
mean by
He had a lot of women
Maybe-
fans just because he's a pretty
Bro,
boy.
Facts.
I mean, he's not the first, bro.
Yeah, come
That's
on.
true.
I'm talking about
Yo,
just
while
said
being the.
Trying to reset
Go ahead,
I was still talking to be fair. I was still
He's
talking to be
5
fair.
minutes. Like, hold
While
on.
still being the best player in the world, though.
Go ahead, Josh,
Beckham
go
was
ahead,
never
go
the
aid.
best player in the world. I was still talking the whole time when y'all was all interrupting me.
I didn't interrupt. You know, I got respect for the podcast. Y'all don't have any respect for each other.
I was like, damn,
It's
bro.
all good.
Josh, please. No, I'm done.
Any
Yeah.
more stats?
Oh, he's also the top goal scorer at the Euros right now, going crazy in Saudi. Talk about starting the Saudi wave.
It's
All
true.
right, Mr. Lichtenstein.
And obviously, you know, Messi, you can take the. You said what?
Nothing. It's on camera, so you can listen back to it later.
I hate going back, clipping my little segments for 7. I'm like, what?
Nah, continue.
Nah, but bro, let's give Ronaldo. I mean, Messi, if you want to give him the GOAT status, that's fine. But let's not forget Ronaldo is an extremely close second.
Nah, we'll
Nah,
never
no one
forget.
forget.
Nobody
I just
forget.
nobody
I see what's on talk crazy. It's already getting bad. It's already getting bad.
middle
bro.
school, high school,
Ronaldo.
and possibly college defending him. So
Yeah, listen, bro.
we're good.
Ronaldo.
We know.
Nah.
The real ones know. You
Like the
just
dude in the
appreciate
back of the
greatness.
bus. He's beautiful to me.
Okay. OD. Nah, I mean, granted, growing up, I was definitely on the Ronaldo side of things. I think, cultural relevancy there with Ronaldo was the 7. CR7 was a crazy brand culturally.
The highest.
Everybody's
brand.
doing the 2, first initial, last initial, 7.
Yeah.
I would definitely say Dino for me is like, the player I'll go through, for, just looking. Zizou, who's on this Zizou?
Zizou, yeah,
Zizou
right here.
there.
That Champions League final goal.
Deserves
Of
a
course,
little
of course.
respect.
So I have a
Dino,
I have a question.
we should not highlight Cruyff though.
I was
Yeah,
literally
no, of
about to
course.
ask.
Yeah.
Or
Cruyff changed, a lot.
total football, yeah.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? And Barca doing stuff on the Dutch national team. So it's a tough one, but Dino also
Yeah.
can't compare.
And shout out Thierry Henry, who brought in a huge generation of black fans to football, especially with that Arsenal team.
To Arsenal.
Yeah, I think Black Arrow just posted about that
But
as
to
well.
your point about Cruyff, like that goes back to what I was saying. Like we weren't born when Cruyff was at his peak, and we can see the impact that he's had on coaches, systems, clubs, and all that. But
For sure.
unless you're actually there to tie your emotions to what he was doing on the field, you don't really have that impact or that connection to him, that emotional connection that digs deep into your brain like you do with some of these other players.
Yeah.
That even if it's a Ronaldo, we were young, but we heard the stories and we would watch the clips, and we're starting to see him on the older side of his career. We missed that with Cruyff, and we missed that with Maradona, we missed that with Pele, and we're just hearing these hand-me-downs from different parents and grandparents, and I'm just wishing, man, like, why'd we miss? But then I remember that we had all these
Just
great
Ronaldo and
players
Messi.
too, so.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so Cruyff invented the Cruyff turn, which if you know anything about ball, is a very iconic move.
Yeah.
Can y'all imagine like the first time he did it? Like, did everybody just lose their mind and like what happened, bro? No one had ever done that
Everybody
before.
was confused.
It's a slick pullback, but it's like,
Yeah.
what did the commentators say?
Imagine
bro?
the first person that rainbow somebody.
Whoa, what? Or the Maradona for the first time.
Yeah, I said,
He just do a
what did you
pirouette
just
on the
do?
ball. What's going on?
They thought it was juju.
Witchcraft, bro.
The first person to juggle even.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, changed the game.
No,
But we'll never know who that person was.
We know why they started dribbling, though.
Seb, you're gonna
Insert clip.
Insert our most viral clip.
I actually, yeah.
He said, yeah.
He's like, that's how
He realized where he's at. he said, oh, yeah.
Check this watch real quick. Like, yeah.
Same
funny.
studio.
Seb, you're saying something, though.
Well, I mean, I had a quick, interesting little question that I just thought of.
Hit it.
We were just speaking about Messi and Ronaldo. Who would you guys rather have on your team? Someone who's a Ronaldo fan, a Messi fan, or a Neymar fan? If you're playing, you guys are about to, you're in high school.
So good.
Who would you rather have?
A fan.
What does that say about the person? Who would you rather have on your team?
As somebody who played with Josh, CR7 fans are like very annoying to play with.
Oh, why is that?
They're very dramatic on the pitch.
Okay.
Like if you touch him,
Uh-huh.
he's going flying. He's screaming. He's getting upset.
Yeah.
That won some fouls, that won us some games.
No, I was gonna say the plus side is like CR7 made everybody think that like they have to work. They have to have the most insane work rate to be even like worthy of playing this game. You know what I'm saying? And so everybody who like came up under that
Don't say that.
was just like, yo, I'm gonna stay after practice and take 1,000,000 shots, or I'm gonna do an extra 5,000 laps around the field.
That's
like,
true.
you know what I'm saying? And it made them better. So,
That's true.
but as a teammate, it's like, yo, like, we trying to go home, bro. Like, we trying to go to McDonald's after school. Like, nobody trying to go
Seriously.
do an extra practice.
What are you thinking?
Man. So growing up, I didn't have a lot of Neymar fans. Like,
Got you.
because
Yeah,
Cristiano and Messi were just such brands.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was Cristiano or Messi. And, the Cristiano guys roll their socks up a specific way.
Yes, they do.
Do the little pose before the free kick.
Hair got to be done.
Act like
Wrist
they're about to
tape.
dip it up and over the wall.
Got the
Get
wrist
their
tape.
hair done too and everything. So, you got to appreciate, look good, feel good, play good, I guess. But that's one thing. And then on the other side, the Messi fans are the ones dribbling all over the place.
Yeah, OD.
and thinking that they're about to unlock the game on their own, which doesn't happen unless you're Messi. So it's a tough one. I think the ideal one is the one who appreciates and respects both, like me.
Look at this guy. Look at He laughed at me.
I would say,
He said, I got out of that question well.
yeah, right? For everything you said about Ronaldo fans is why that's what I want to play with, because they're putting work ethic over God-given ability. Because most people ever do not have the God-given ability, obviously, of Messi or Neymar. Yeah. So I'm going with the dude who's just hustling, working his ass off.
No, for sure.
The thing I forgot as well about Ronaldo fans, they have every single vapor, mercurial.
Got to.
Like,
What?
Adidas Predator
every
was
3
my
months,
thing
every
first.
6 months, the new shoe. I'm like, damn, it's like that?
Hey,
like,
bro.
you better be playing
And
well
what's
if you
the-
have the carbon fiber, everything.
Yeah,
Come on,
bro.
That's man.
And
then
the
once
belief.
the ankle, once the sock thing
I
came out,
love that, bro.
once the
What?
sock thing came out, it's over.
Once they started cutting the
Bro,
socks.
yeah.
I'm not even trying to be
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
I will not buy boots that don't have the ankle thing. Like now.
Support.
Since that came out, no way.
No, it's
You
true.
get the vibes
No, it's very true.
Yeah.
Honestly,
as a Ronaldo fan.
It's interesting. I would say that the Neymar fans work when they have the talent, but if you're shit,
That's my
and
point.
Neymar
That's my point.
Is the guy
That is
you,
the most annoying teammate, bro.
bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, like, even Messi fans, what's Messi fans' MO on the pitch? Like, you guys said they dribble.
Dribbling.
That's like the team player to
Just
me.
looking
I
up
don't
to
know.
dribbling for real.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the hardcore. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the average
That's
person who
Messi, yeah.
supports one or the other.
Mhm.
The average
Trying-
person's
trying to
still just playing the
emulate
game.
Trying to emulate for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I always am mad indecisive. They
That's good.
overthink.
This is the hot take machine, man. You gotta
He don't buy it.
Hot take machine is insane.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Hey.
Led by Seb, of course. My boy.
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
He knows. He's like, yep.
No, yeah, I think if so to answer this question, I'll take a team full of Messi fans versus like if
Oh, yeah.
11, you know,
Can you
what I'm
imagine a team full of
It's like
Ronaldo
that
fans?
the
Bro,
FIFA thing, the 11
impossible.
Ronaldos versus 11 Messi.
saying? 11 Neymars, I'll take 11 Messis, bro.
Yeah, every time. Absolutely.
They'll figure it out.
Absolutely. Well, speaking about careers, speaking about footballers, we
on.
have one on the show.
We do.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
And I think it's time to get into a bit of your story.
Let's do it.
So yeah, take us back, man, from Paris to getting to the DMV, to then your rise into college, getting picked in the MLS draft. I think the first question I have is like, what was your introduction to football, to soccer? Where does that come from?
Man, it comes from family. You know, my dad grew up in Cameroon. You know, Cameroon had some great teams in the '90s. You know, I was actually fortunate to be coached by Emile Mbu, who was a captain of Cameroon in those World Cups in Bethesda.
Wow.
So, just the way the sport was already rooted, and my older brother was playing, and I wanted to be just like my older brother growing up. Still do, low key. Won't tell him that anymore, but.
That's funny.
It was just a natural segue for me, grabbing a ball at his games, dribbling down the sidelines, and you know, the support system, the parents, the brother, the teammates of his, just being good people and be like, oh, this guy's gonna be great, this guy's gonna be better than you, Patrick, all this stuff, like just egging me on at a young age. So always remember that, and then you know that got me into some of the local leagues, YMCA's, and immediately kind of knowing that it was something that I was a little bit better than at least the people around me. And yeah, got to Bethesda, and the rest is kind of history there.
When you say you noticed you were better than other people, what did you notice first? Like, what was the telling aspect?
I mean, they couldn't keep up. Like this is at a young age. There's some kind of darker sides to that story that I talked about kind of recently, but just kind of running through the league, man. Like, you don't have a ton of skill at that age. You're kind of just pushing and running and shooting and kicking. And I was doing that at a better rate than anyone on the field. You know, some of the refs are like probably high school age kids at the time, which is funny to look at because I used to think they were these like huge adults, but they were really just like kids volunteering or getting the light job. And they're like,
Shout out to them.
yeah, for
sure.
real.
definitely
And
did
one of
that.
them, he was a black ref, and he was looking out. He was like, "Damn, you doing your thing." And I was like, "Yeah, you know." Like, how much conversation can you really have with a young kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it felt supportive, and you know, there were different coaches at that time that were either hanging around those games because their kids were playing, or seeing me on the sideline of my brother's games, and they were like, "Hey, you should join this team." So that's how I got to like my MSI recreational team,
Right.
and then that team actually ended up having some studs. So you know, we had a couple USL player come out of that team as well, and that team ended up turning into a team that housed Gideon Zalalem, who was one of my middle school teammates, high school teammates. So DMV is a talent-rich area.
Yes, it is.
I was fortunate to kind of bask in that on the Montgomery County side, and then expand that when we got older.
Question about just growing up in the DMV area and playing there. What do you say the football scene, the style of play, how did that, you know, show itself through the way that you played and growing up there?
I think it's a little bit of everything. You can't just be an athlete and succeed in the DMV, but you also can't just be, you know, technical. You got to merge everything together because you got one brand maybe in Bethesda or Rockville, and then you got another brand in, let's say, Baltimore and Baltimore suburbs. You got another brand in Northern Virginia and Northern Virginia suburbs. You got all these immigrant groups like myself kind of popping up, joining these teams, imprinting what they bring to the game, and their teammates learning from them. Like, hey, okay, this is how I'm supposed to dribble, or hey, this is how I'm supposed to shield the ball, or these are the passes I should look for. And I guess that mix of cultures is really what makes the DMV so good. I mean, you got every country represented in like every league that you have there.
Absolutely.
Do you think it's the best region in the country for footy?
That's not even a hot take.
Okay.
So that's
Hey,
look,
Both of y'all claiming that?
California people are gonna be like California. New York people are gonna be like New York.
it's true.
It's
Texas too.
Texas.
A lot
is
of
good.
ballers out of Texas.
Texas is good. South Florida is good.
I was gonna say Florida too.
DMV.
DMV produces some of the best athletes, though. Not even
Overall.
Overall,
That's facts.
So I don't think it's a hot
That
take
boy
at all.
quickly on the Knicks right now.
Yeah, you know.
Different.
That's
Um, I guess moving into
Before we move on,
yeah, go ahead.
so were you were born in the DMV?
No, I was born in Paris.
Okay.
I moved over when I was 2.
Got you.
I took a job in DC, kind of bounced around. DC proper, Chevy Chase, Bethesda. That's where I grew up and
Got you.
did my thing.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
No, yeah. So I was gonna ask, what was it like? I guess coming from an African household and growing up in the DMV, because I think a lot of people don't realize how strong the African community is in that part of the country. And so, what was it like to, I guess, have? I assume you had a lot of like growing up. At least the African community was very, at least like close to you, and I guess close to your football journey. Did that affect or impact your path into the game? Do you think about how things would have been different if you had been in a different area, perhaps?
You know, I think when you talk about the African community in DC, it's one that's very involved in the game, whether it's someone who actually made it to a professional level like Emile and who captained Cameroon, which, you know, if I wasn't in DC, I would have never crossed paths with him.
Right.
Or you look at, you know, the people at church who never had that career for themselves, but they're like, oh, you're playing soccer, like this is great. And they're always encouraging you in a way that maybe other communities might be like, maybe focus on the academics, right? Because I got both of those growing up. And, you know, you lean into what you want to hear. There are some people that are good at footy and don't necessarily want to pursue it. And they're like, yeah, that's probably the smart thing to not do that. But other people, they're kind of, they know the cultural significance of the game while also acknowledging that some of the other paths in academia and beyond will always be there should we want it. So I think that was a learning experience for me growing up, even with my father. I mean, he played growing up.
Right.
You know, he supported the best Cameroon teams and best Cameroonian players as well. But he was also able to get to where he got to through kind of a more traditional path.
Yes.
Going through kind of the collegiate world in France, coming out of Cameroon, and then getting a job in DC. So he placed high value on that as well.
Yep.
And so when he realized that I was going to be a high level player, there were conversations that needed to be had, but he knew what it was too. When he saw the infrastructure around it, I had the chance to train in Fulham when I was in high school and possibly sign there, but some challenges as well politically and visa wise. But yeah, he was impressed. So.
Now time for a quick story time brought to you by SipTale, the best canned cocktail on the market with a cognac-infused drink. All right, y'all. So my other question of the week is, where is the strangest place or situation in which you've watched a soccer game, or a time in which you were watching a game when you really should not have been?
I think we all have stories of us being in class. Teacher walked by, you know, you close the tab. Teacher goes to the front of the room, the tab pops up. Highlight reels, anything, you know, to distract from you. Probably watching with your friend to the side and whatnot, all throughout school, before games, even during the off season as well, you know. Live streaming, you know, or streaming illegally might even be.
Yo, RIP Total Sport Tech, bro.
Nah, Total Sport Tech done.
Bro.
Yeah, it's definitely club.
Nah. I think you can still run it.
It still works?
Yeah.
They brought it back then.
Total Sport Tech. And the thing is, at the timing of it, for instance, Kendrick brought up the fact that the games, prem games, are during the
Morning,
weekend
midday.
mornings. Yeah. But like, you know, Champions League is during our classes in the afternoon.
Yeah, during work.
Bro.
And I got 2 Champions League stories, both Real Madrid, of course, that's my team. One was in I believe it was a Champions League quarterfinal or semifinal. Real Madrid won the first leg 2 or 3-0, and Juve had come back to be within 1 goal or tie it up, and then Ronaldo scored a last-minute penalty to have us go through after we thought we fumbled it. And I'm in like a computer lab, everybody's doing work, editing stuff. I stand up, and I just start screaming. I'm pounding my chest, a la Madridinatum. I was going crazy for like 10 seconds, then sat right down. And just like in like a dead silent computer lab, lost my mind, bro. So that's one. The other one, another crazy Real Madrid story. Yeah. I was in a meeting when we were playing Man City in our crazy comeback of the 2022 season. City had just scored, so we were down 2 goals, only a couple minutes left. I was like, damn. But I had to act calm during the meeting. And then in the same time, I'm packing up. I'm in DC. I got to get back to Philly at the time. And as I'm packing up while watching the game, Rodrigo scores the 2 last-minute goals to bring it to extra time. I'm losing my mind while my suitcase is flying open and everything. And then I'm walking mad fast to the train station, intently watching the overtime, and then we get the penalty. And I just stopped dead in my tracks, got my backpack on my suitcase, I got the game on my phone, and then Benzema hits the Panenka on Ederson, and I just stand there and just hit a suit, like lose my mind, bro. Then watch us, I get on the train, watching the rest of it as we hold them off with Vallejo on the pitch, which is crazy. And then we went through, won the Champions League, one of the craziest comebacks ever, bro. But I was from a meeting to packing up to leaving to catching a train. It witnessed one of the wildest games in Madrid history.
I got one more quick one. 2019, I was at Georgetown for getting my undergraduate degree, and that was the year that we won the national championship. And the final was went to penalties. And so it was like during final season, everybody's in the library. If anybody knows anything about the library at Georgetown, it's like in a basement, like no windows, like very insulated. And so everybody, people who didn't even give a fuck about soccer were all like sheltered around somebody's computer at like one desk. Like people are trying to study, but like every time a penalty went in, like somebody's like, man, hype. And then they won, and then so like everybody went back to studying. So, but that was like a good undergrad, college type memory. But yeah, shout out to SipTale for ushering these type of conversations.
For sure. SipTale, the start of a good story. No doubt, no doubt. Speaking of that, you know, and your dad realizing how serious it was for you, at what point did you realize not just that you were better than the average kid, but did you realize I can really go pro and be like a dominant MLS player?
Yeah, I never really realized until I had gone to Fulham.
Okay.
Right, like I'd been having good seasons, probably late middle school, freshman year of high school. It's when I started kind of finding my foothold in the game. But up until then, you know, I played a year up at a Bethesda team, and I was coming off the bench, right? And it was a point of contention for myself and my family because, you know, your family's going to want you to play. Every single family wants their kid to play, especially when you're paying as much money as you are in this country. Like, there's a different level of investment in your kid being able to at least enjoy themselves. But then every parent also thinks that their kid's the best player too.
Of all time. Yeah.
So I appreciate my family for the love. But I wasn't starting on some of those teams. I remember distinctly, and I was okay to play that role, but it required me switching teams and earning a starting position on that next team to actually know that, okay, I can compare at least to this age group. And that was with only going from Bethesda to only. And then, yeah, I got the chance to go to Fulham, trialed there, scored like, I don't know, 5 goals in 3 games with their U16s. And they brought me back, scored another 2 goals against Chelsea's academy. And, you know, they wanted to keep me. And I was like, okay, if I can do it here, I probably had a too simplified of a view because I was like, oh, I just beat Chelsea, I scored a brace. Like, I'm going to the Prem.
Yeah, right? I'll be thinking this
very fair math,
And my best friend, one of my best friends at the time, Gideon, had signed for Arsenal.
Wow.
And he had gone through kind of this star-laden path where he was going to preseason with them, training with their first team, in and around all that. So I was like, yeah, we're both going to be in the Prem next year. So that's when I really realized that I can be a professional. I just didn't know where and how I would get there.
Right. One question I want to ask before we kind of move on into, I guess, the later stages of your career and more so current news is Josh and I were talking about yesterday about how the American system places emphasis on academics and sports, whereas, you know, in other parts of the world and in other countries, that system isn't necessarily as valued. How do you think that the ability to have one foot in academia and one foot in sports has impacted your career? I guess at least growing up?
Oof, that's a tough one. I consistently evaluate it, but I don't think you realize when you're young that you're focusing on both.
Yep.
I think by the time you would have to choose in another country, that's where you start to see the difference. The 16-year-old in England who accepts a scholarship to join the 18s and drop kind of the formal academic setting knows that he's in this for life, or he needs to be in this for life in order to make the money that he wants to make, while we pursue our academic careers
Until 18.
in high school. For me, in college a little bit as well.
Right.
And I think it gives you a safety net that you don't have in overseas. It doesn't always have to be a negative, but for some people, it does give them that out. Like I do see young players that come into the league and they want to give it their all, but they also know that they're graduates from some of the best schools in the country, and they have X amount of years to prove themselves. If not, they start to think about other opportunities, and I don't blame them for it. I would probably have to think about that the same. So,
Do you think?
Oh,
Sorry.
I was just.
No, go ahead. You can go first, then I'll go.
Fair. No, I mean, you bringing up just the different perspectives and even advice you heard, being the DMV, bringing up the African community, talking about your journey into, the next steps as you progress. Could you tell us of a moment when somebody gave you, advice as a footballer that has really stuck with you during your journey?
yeah, I mean, as a kid, I wouldn't say I got like this light bulb moment where this was the quote or the phrase that I was always going to remember that's going to take me to the top.
Yeah.
But I will always remember the emphasis on work ethic from my father. It was something that I heard basically every day, or felt like every day.
I understand.
It got to the point where it's like, I don't care what you do,
Just do it well.
but do it well. Work hard. You have to work harder than everyone else if you want to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. And soccer was no different. When we were starting to have that conversation about possibly going to Fulham, he was like, obviously I had a path that I thought was going to be your path, but my eyes have kind of been open to a different side of this world. And, whether it's here in the US, if this is what you want to do, you just have to put everything behind it and don't look back. And that kind of support, like that's real support. That's not just superficial, like, yeah, do whatever you want. Like that's intentional, thought out. And it's something that carries me to this day. The way that how you solve problems is by just working through them, both physically, emotionally, mentally. And what I'll say to kind of the collegiate and academia soccer duality, like it doesn't have to be one or the other. You see European academies are trying to incorporate more holistic academic sessions, career building. And where that might help a player is that if you're stuck in this negative spiral because your career is not in where it needs to be, it's so easy to get warped up and not dig yourself out of that. And you're not analyzing what's going on with a clear head at all. So the chances of getting out of that spiral, I think, become lower and lower, and the special ones do get out of it. But having something else that can take your mind off the game gives you the slight refresh that you need, I think, in order to get back to it, go through what you need to go through, and then attack your next problem. So just food for thought.
So do you think that is like the happy medium between footy and schooling for the teenagers? Because I think about, I'm American and I'm Spanish. On the Spanish side, Lamine Yamal just scored again for the Spanish national team and he's only 16 years old. Versus we just do not have U.S. men's national team players who are 16 years old balling out like that. But occasionally you have the Pulisic who might be going to Dortmund at 17.
The 15-year-old.
In the U17 World Cup. Which is most countries, to be honest. But do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, for the U.S. to reach that next phase,
Good news.
the idea for a lot of people is that we need our best players as teenagers about to be ready for the national team, but instead they're coming in so much later. So do you see that as a happy medium, being like, they can get in younger, but they still have some backup of schooling? Or I guess, like, what do you think is needed for the U.S. from the youth perspective to get those players to that higher level faster, but still having that background that is holistic? Go ahead.
And also, I would like to open this discussion up to everyone. But
Yeah.
I think one like caveat I want to add is that, like, if we look at other sports in the U.S., like basketball, that has like sort of developed the culture of high schoolers and, like actually taking it, like not looking back, so to speak. I feel like perhaps is just going to take like maybe 10 years, and then we'll figure out the system that works in this country as well.
Sure.
Because the fact that this country plays high school sports will actually give us an advantage. There's no way it doesn't, because other countries don't do that. Like
true.
you have the club academy, and then like Sunday league. Yeah, you can play for like in Italy or in France or in Spain. Like it's complicated. If you're not playing for an academy, it's complicated to find a team. Whereas here, you play high school and you are playing week in, week out, which is going to help us in the long run. We just got to figure it out.
Yeah, but we have to invest in high school soccer.
Yeah.
True.
Like,
True.
It's tough because there's all these competing leagues and there's all these competing interests. But I saw a thread on Twitter a while ago talking about the Japanese high school soccer system and how it is.
I don't know anything about that.
I don't know enough about it to elaborate, but it's something that's worth looking into about how they've invested in it from a cultural standpoint and how
I
some
know
of
what
the
you're
best
talking
players
about.
have played through their high school league system. So
The only thing about the NBA comparison is like you still have to be, I think, at least 19 to get drafted.
Yeah.
Anything about the NFL, I think you still have to do 2 years of college.
3 maybe.
The problem is, bro, Lamine is 16. How do we catch up with that? So it's just like the U.S. got to figure it out some way. But we'll see.
I want to see them on the U.S. national team at 16. I think it's possible.
Yeah.
Some of these MLS Next players are coming through, and sometimes they're training with the first team, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy is ready. He's getting exposed to a faster, stronger, more tactically advanced game than I ever was when I was 16. I was scoring 38 goals in the academy season, my senior year of high school. I had no business doing that. If I was in another country at 17, I would be training with men. I would be getting exposed to it and seeing if I can hold my own.
Right.
No, that's really well said. Like I want to, I guess, speak to that portion of your career. College, you were at Duke, got drafted 4th. Can you speak to us about your experience playing college soccer a little bit?
Well, before we get there, can I ask one more lingering
Of course,
question?
my man. Of course.
I want to hear. Yeah, that was
like
lingering.
that.
I was
Oh,
like,
please, yeah.
I want to hear more about your experience at Fulham. Like, what was it like culturally?
Good question. I'm glad it was lingering. Good question.
Yeah, you come from a Cameroonian family, francophone background, grew up in Maryland. So you've been around a lot of cultures. What was it like being over there and adjusting to that away from your family and everything?
And how did they react to you, I guess?
Oof. It was positive, I will say. And it was as diverse a team as I remember being a part of. You had kids from all over, both Europe and London and England for that matter. It was also the most intense atmosphere I had been in as a kid. Like the passes were sharp. Like they were pinging them balls in, and the pressure. Even though we were just playing friendlies in U16s in England at the time, I don't know what they do today, but it was just friendlies. So there was this emphasis on development, whatever it might have been. But you would have thought you were playing the FA Youth Cup final. The way one time we were playing Wolves, and I was feeling good. I'd scored a bunch of goals during that trial, so I'm like, the ball's coming towards my halfway line from a corner kick maybe, and it's right on the outside of the 18, and I'm facing my own goal, and there's a right back that's wide open, ready to like get a ball and cross it immediately. And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna turn and I'm gonna try and dribble some fool, and then I'm gonna score myself. On my turn, I get picked. They go the other way. I don't remember what happened afterwards, but I just remember like 6 guys yelling at the top of their lungs, like I just blew it. I got talked down by the coach after the game in an appropriate way, but in a like vulgar, this is how it needs to be done. Because it was a naive move on my end, and I got in over my head. So I was awakened to the reality of what it was to pursue a football career. And I saw some of the harder stuff too. I mean, I saw some trialists come in who, the guys didn't really like. I saw, how you treat guys like that on the field. But it's those moments that help an individual decide whether they want to be a part of this game or not. And for me, it was a catalyst.
Follow-up question from that. This might be kind of inappropriate, but fuck it. Like, it's not crazy. Do you feel like there was ever a difference between like, cause I imagine in the academy system, there's a lot of like international kids coming from different countries and whatnot. Was there a difference between like the kids who are like, I'm here because like my family like needs me to get this job versus like kids who may have been more like, I really want this career, but it's not like a necessity.
Right.
Like I really want this, but then there might be kids from other countries where like their families like relying on them to come back and be like, I got picked up by this team. Like, was there ever any of that?
To be honest, I was a little too young to see that dynamic at the time, and it was such a new world for me that I was just trying to get the most out of it. My coach had even said, yeah, it's just training. So I'm like, hey, there ain't no chance. Thank you.
Yeah.
When they offered the contract, I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
some training. Like,
Yeah. It's
Damn.
real.
Yeah. Thank you, first of all, for all those answers.
Thanks.
Really, really insightful. I guess moving into, what we've been trying to sort of speak about in regards to college, a lot of people don't really ever get to hear about that experience, the college experience in this country. What was that like? I mean, also, was that the decision that you were always going to make, like going to college and playing soccer?
so no, the decision that I was hoping to make was to join Fulham.
Yep.
It was something that we worked hard. We had lawyers kind of trying to figure out how to make it work. Ultimately, it just didn't work out. So we started exploring other routes, college being one of them. And it's not a bad idea to ever go to school.
Mhm.
And I wanted to maximize that. I have this academic background. I knew Duke was a perennial contender in the ACC and nationally. So it felt like a good fit. I knew that I wanted to be a professional as early as possible. I felt like I was on track to, signing my first deal at 17. And that was obviously going to be delayed, but I wanted to go into Duke as early as possible. So graduated high school early, and that's really where I started to lower down into the bottom. Came into my freshman year with big expectations, led the Academy League in goals the year before. Our team lost in the national final, but strong team, a lot of D1 commits. And yeah, I just wasn't ready mentally, physically, emotionally for what it would be to enter a school as difficult as Duke.
Right.
I overloaded my classes my first semester in terms of like difficulty.
Yeah.
The long academy season had caught up to me and I was not ready physically to enter, which only compounded some of the physical difficulties that I had adapting to a game where a 17-year-old is playing with a 22-year-old who's not necessarily built the way that many soccer players in this world are. We do a lot of lifting in college.
Yeah.
Some people get very big, and there is a difference between a freshman and a fifth year. So that was probably the first moment of real difficulty, but through that came a lot of beautiful moments, a lot of strong team bonding in that freshman year, a lot of academic growth as well, and then the social growth, which is really important in college, learning how to balance that all out, learning how to not allow difficulty on the field to translate into difficulty off the field, academic and socially, which, so many people allow that to happen. And, it was a rise. So from freshman fall to freshman spring to sophomore fall, it was night and day. I credit, my family, my friends, the team, the support system that is on campus. And just Duke is a vibrant campus.
Of course.
I go back to this day and I'm just like, I can't believe I only spent 3 semesters here. Like, I love where I'm at today, but part of me wonders, like, what if I spent 4 years here,
And I was gonna ask, like, how was it going to such a well-known school for academically, legitimately one of the best in the world, the best in the country, and on top of that, one of the best known, if not the most known sports school in the country. You have the Duke Blue Devils in basketball, the men and women's footy team, the college football team's getting better now. Like, what was that overall environment at Duke in terms of just like overall college sports and the energy behind it, and also being one of the most hated schools too, because y'all are so successful.
Yeah, I mean, we felt the hate on the road, which is funny because there aren't a lot of schools with big fan bases. But I remember some of the more hostile environments, like even in SMU, which you don't think that SMU is going to hate Duke, but not.
That's in Houston, right?
It's in Dallas.
Okay, but Texas. I got you.
Texas.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's real, and it's the first time that we've had fans, or that I had fans who were that engaged in the game, coming at you like that. But it's challenging. There's this expectation of excellence. I think that when I'd come, we were kind of starting to hit a little bit of a lower point as a team. Had a lot of freshmen playing who had big expectations, and maybe not as much reality in terms of what it would take to be a contender in the ACC. So it was a little bit of a a dip in form for the program. Great to see them back where they belong, but had some good leaders on that team. You know, Sean Davis was, you know, a big influence on me now at Nashville when I was a freshman, just seeing how he maintained such control of his athletic career, his academic career, and his social, you know, footprint. It was like, okay, it's doable to come here to Duke, a school with so many resources everywhere, and to come out in a place where your career is better off than when you came in. So when I was low, that was something that I looked up to. And I know some of my other teammates who maybe had big expectations coming in, but didn't hit them on day one. I know that they felt that as well.
It's fire.
And then moving into being drafted, could you, I guess, walk our listeners through like that process? Like, what does it look like, even like becoming eligible? What is the stress? And like, I know you weren't, but like, how does it work when you are getting into that process of being drafted into the MLS?
And for context, we have a lot of international listeners who
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
understand the
Yeah.
concept of a draft.
Got it.
So, yeah.
And it's complicated, and it's changing, you know, every year in terms of who's eligible. But when I was coming out, the only people eligible were the people who had played there 4 years in school,
Right.
or 4 seasons, and then the Generation Adidas players who would be a designation of player that was an underclassman and were special or desired by a certain number of teams, so that you know, the league felt comfortable that those guys would end up getting picked. I was in a position where I had played my sophomore season, and I was pretty confident with what I had done. I felt that, you know, I had more to give to Duke, and I did want to win, and I felt like the team was on the up, but there were some opportunities that were coming up, and I wanted to take a step back and really evaluate them. So I took a leave of absence that spring and was supported by my coaching staff, my teammates, and that resulted in me signing with MLS in the summer of 2016.
Okay.
So you're in that Adidas category.
So I was not in that Generation Adidas category because I had actually signed with Nike prior to my professional career. So that just kind of paved my way into MLS, and it was complicated, but it was an opportunity to take advantage of for everyone who wanted to be a part of this journey. So yeah, I signed in August. Again, unconventional. Most people don't sign before the season, but we believe that this was the right path as a community, MLS, myself, the people around me, and I was able to go on loan to Charleston Battery for about 6 weeks in the USL. That was an eye-opening experience as well, just learning what it was like to play with men who were fighting for something more than just a school or, you know, an academy team. And then the draft was in January 2017, which is a whole process, combine, playing games in front of scouts, meeting different teams, learning about them learning about you, the different types of meetings that you might have there, and then all culminating with draft day, where you kind of take a bus to the convention center, wait to hopefully hear your name read. And, you know, I was fortunate to be picked 4th by the Portland Timbers at that time.
Fortunate. They were fortunate, bro. It's coming up for that. What? 4th pick?
Come on,
That's a lottery pick if you don't know the terminology.
That's true. They made a whole category for you, man.
For sure.
They didn't do that.
They did that.
Wait, so we glazed over the
Right.
Nikes part. Like,
Yeah.
what was it like becoming a Nike athlete, like, or that partnership?
Yeah. Nike was a dream brand growing up. I mean, obviously I wore some Adidas from time to time.
Everybody's dream
Appreciate
brand.
it, but
I'm
it
still
was,
trying to get my deal.
it's not too late.
In a different way, but yeah.
It was the dream.
Definitely.
You know, the amount of boots, the innovation. I'd been hovering around the U.S. youth national teams, even if I wasn't American at the time. And I had been fortunate to go onto Nike's campus and see just what they were doing. So yeah, I wanted Nike from the jump. I was playing with U.S. youth national teams at that time,
Gotcha.
leading into the summer of 2016, and they wanted me to sign before I even had a professional contract. And
Hey, baller.
no, I was.
Baller.
There weren't. No, not at all.
Not at all. All right, bro. It's like, we gonna gas you, bro.
There were a lot of professionals already signed to contracts on that team. So people are looking at the collegiate players and they're like, who's next?
For sure.
The handful of you guys, like, which one of you should we sign? And, you know, it was a blessing. As I said, the dream brand. I think every relationship runs its course, but if you ask me, would I sign for Nike again as a 19-year-old, I would say next question. You know, there were a lot of beautiful moments on that journey. I think as you grow older, your priorities become a little bit different, and your ability to explore opportunities with other brands can sometimes become a conflict with your main shoe sponsor, which is actually your short sponsor, your top sponsor, your glassware, your headphones, theoretically, if they were making those. And they control so much, which makes it challenging when you're a player who does as much as I try to do off the field and supporting my friends
NSC.
and their brands. NSC, you know it. So, yeah, great journey. Grateful to have been a part of it. But after 7 years, yeah, it's come to a wrap.
So I'm assuming what you're getting at is like exclusivity, basically. Like you couldn't work with any other brands in relation to any article clothing that like Nike produced.
Sure. Yeah. And for me, it's not about the vanity of working with other brands. It's about the impact. Like,
Of course.
what can I do with a brand in the community?
Yeah.
Am I able to let's talk about NSC for a second. Like, can I get NSC to show up for some of my nonprofits on a regular basis because they're Oakland based and I play in the Bay Area? What kind of activations can we do on a regular basis? And I understand that nothing comes for free. So they're not just going to do that and then expect me to just not return the favor.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do some formal marketing for them or shout outs or whatever it might be. And it was important that I had the freedom to pursue those opportunities as well. And they understand that over at Nike, you know, there's some of the most innovative, hardworking people that I've met and taught me a lot in those 7 years. I'm grateful to have been in Portland as a Nike athlete, being so close to campus, seeing the Mercurial for, 2022 and 2019.
Yeah.
You know, so it's cool, but
That's fine.
there's just different paths for everyone, for even me, like things that you don't account for when you're 19 happen when you're 26, and you just got to evaluate and go from there.
Yeah.
We know Seb going for that Puma sponsorship.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's next that you're allowed to talk about?
Listen,
I don't have anything lined up.
Yep.
But what's important to me is that I have either something that's non-exclusive or something that is very encompassing in the sense that it's a guarantee to do certain community events with me, certain brand activations, something that's, again, going to bring other people into my career that didn't necessarily have the opportunity. If we're all young and we have the chance to have the local pro give back, who wouldn't take that? Whether it was a camp, whether it was weekly volunteering, whatever it might be. And I want someone who's going to help me expand on that, and someone who's tied to the community.
Makes sense. That's beautiful.
I'm glad you brought that up because it's not something that a lot of people think about.
Definitely. not.
And for you had to experience it yourself and kind of flesh that out for yourself. But for the listeners, like that's a gold nugget that I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about, but should think about, like what obligations you're tying yourself into, for how long, what it's gonna keep you from doing, and frustrations that may not be in your face at the moment, but.
And to be honest, like the last point I'll say is Nike, whoever else, they do have those activations too.
Yeah.
It's just they have their plans and their target markets, for example, or whatever it might be.
Of course.
And it might just not be the right timing for you.
Of course.
And you can't take that personal as the athlete. That's like what's so important. Everyone personalizes a lot of these business relationships, but no, it's not personal. And I tell you that I would sign with Nike today, even knowing everything that I know now, because I know the type of brand that they are at the end of the day, which is a forward-thinking and community-driven brand as well.
And just to add to your point too, I think that's especially important in 2023 in terms of things that young athletes don't know, because a lot of athletes are now starting their own brands. They have their own clothing stuff. People are getting more and more creative and expressing themselves off the pitch. So that's something they're probably not thinking about when they're signing with all these, major boot deals. Yeah.
Sure.
good.
No, I was just gonna say, talking about clothing, streetwear, just talking about Nike. We do Fits of the Week on Wavy Footy almost every week for the MLS and NWSL, and you've been on there, so
I've been on there a couple of times.
Of course,
y'all are biased.
Yeah.
My heads aren't.
Trying to make sure we get our boy on there.
Good taste, good taste.
For sure,
So what
for
are
sure.
some of your fashion inspos? Put people on if you can.
I mean, talk about what you're wearing, honestly.
So I mean, I'm wearing Neighborhood Sports Club, which is my boy Max Ornstill.
Shout
Gang.
out Max.
Shout out
Gang,
Max.
gang,
Shout out
gang.
Max.
Yeah.
Show.
Played with him in Portland.
Mm.
And now kind of seeing him on his journey, building that studio, that soccer brand with his college teammates and best friends. It's awesome.
For sure.
Wearing Carhartt pants and Nike Off-Whites.
Home team, you got it.
I'm just learning off everyone else.
Yeah,
Honestly, I'm trying to diversify my style a little bit. Growing up, I was in the DMV. I felt like that meant a lot of different things.
New
depending on
Balance.
where I
Phone
was.
posits, New Balances.
The New Balances.
For sure.
Then I was at Duke, and I think Duke is an extension of a part of the DMV, but something completely that's completely different, a little bit more preppy, and like trying to find the prep style within what was in you.
It's true.
Was definitely a challenge. Sometimes I went too far. Sometimes I didn't conform enough. But ultimately, I'm just trying to keep up with streetwear. I think like Lewis Hamilton is testing the boundaries of like where I want to be.
Okay.
When it comes to fashion.
That's fair.
It's a great shout.
If I see him walking into a race and I see him wearing something fire, I'm looking for the knockoff.
Yeah, right.
I know that thing is worth like $1,000.
Yeah,
definitely.
Facts.
It's true. It's true.
And then in the league, I'll give a shout out to Kellen. I think Kellen's got good style.
For sure.
Yeah.
Another dude we interview. See, we only interview the drippiest in MLS, you are?
True.
Facts.
sure, for sure.
Facts. You gotta hit a certain caliber.
Definitely.
Who? I mean, we never talked about this amongst ourselves. Who are y'all fashion inspos? Like, who are some people that y'all look up to?
Bad people.
We've talked about our personal style,
Yeah,
but
that's
like,
true.
Yeah. I suppose that's interesting, man.
Comes in eras.
Yeah.
Then we have my little.
my God.
Yo, what you mean?
He said, hold on.
Because you like as you're growing
Yeah,
up,
go ahead,
it's like
go
different
ahead.
things. I feel like middle school, high school, just like, well, middle school into early high school, just like very athletic. Like I'm on the soccer team, all that kind of stuff. And then that's when ASAP Rocky started popping. So, hey, any people our age, 25, 26, if you don't know about Karmaloop, he was never really into streetwear.
Okay.
So I was going on Karmaloop, just getting all types of hoodies, jeans, flats. I had the denim vest. I had a Knicks basketball hat where the brim and the strap back was made of basketball material, like made up of a basketball.
I could
ball.
see it.
So I was just on my ASAP Rocky, mass streetwear, everything. And then as I got like into college,
You had the Kanye
it was more
glasses? You had the Kanye
I did, bro. I wore them at track meets. Before I dusted you in the 4x1. But I was 13, I was like 14, and then I got into like my more R&B shit, and I was like Bryson Tiller, which was like the skinny jeans with the NMDs, that hat, flannel, more calm, more you can kind of wear it wherever, because I was starting to get a little bit older. And then I mean,
You wore Roshis?
Yeah.
at one point, when in my athletic phase for sure.
Roshis too.
I wrote, but I was also wearing like LeBron.
Y'all wore Roshis?
I was also wearing, bro. I was
She's
also.
outlasted what they should have.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
really-
But I was also wearing like LeBrons with cargo pants in high school
Back in
type
the
shit.
KDs?
You remember that was the
You were
vibe, the
KDs?
KDs too, bro.
Definitely.
For sure. And then now it's just like all different types of streetwears, different types of fitting pants. My girl works in fashion, so she's putting me onto mad brands and starting Wavy Footy.
Put it
And
on,
all
man.
about, putting fashion with the sport. We're looking at all the fly ballers in footy, but I also love the NBA. League Fits has been popping off crazy, so I'm looking at like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Russell Westbrook, now that he's finally calmed down his style, Kyle Kuzma, et cetera, et cetera. So now I think it's a bit more expansive.
Down, bro.
Huh?
You didn't like the
When he had the fake glasses, that was the worst NBA fashion ever, the fake
you didn't
glasses.
like the skirt?
The skirt? I mean, if you
like
want to
the
wear it,
glasses.
Rocky got skirts too. That's calm. Not for me, but y'all got
You
it.
wouldn't rock a kilt?
At a Scottish wedding, yes.
That's
So if y'all getting married in Scotland, I'm
I've
wearing
been to a
kilt.
Scottish
Other than that,
wedding, as a matter of fact.
you wear a kilt?
I didn't get the memo.
Damn. You don't only do it in pants?
That's something- that's
something
I
crazy.
would.
That is something I would say.
That actually is some gotcha,
I
yeah.
didn't get the memo.
Oh.
That would be there.
That was my guy, though. That was my teammate in school. He got married to
That's fire.
a women's soccer player
Nice.
last year.
Fire.
Got the boys back.
Goals.
Man, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, all types of inspo. And then I like wearing stuff with significance.
Who, though?
Like this t-shirt. What is name mad people?
Oh, true.
Like Rocky, Bryson Tiller,
That's
athletes, all that. So
No, it's
yeah.
a fact, man. It's a fact.
Josh?
I mean, in terms of like specific people, I don't know. I would say like
Popcorn?
I said Pop.
Yo, you're
Not
funny as
even.
hell.
Look, you just make yourself like there's no way I just
He's
like
hitting
that boy.
himself.
No, definitely,
Right.
as he always will. I want to say like there's specific people, like there's specific brands I can name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like fashion for me has to, like, for myself, I wanted to give off something that resembles like global culture, especially within the Black diaspora, something that connects people, you know, so brands that touch not only the Americas, but touches, you know, Europe, that touches, you know, Anglophone, Francophone sectors as well. Yeah, I don't think I can name specific people, but it's all about testing boundaries too.
Yeah.
You know, and pushing yourself in different ways because fashion is very subjective. You know, it's like art. Like, you know, nobody can really tell you about how you dress, and being confident is the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I can name brands though, but like specific people.
I'd add in the significance piece too, because I go to a lot of concerts, listen to a lot of music. I have a lot of artist merch. So I kind of like wearing stuff too that kind of symbolizes something I'm associated with, that I'm kind of communicating out. So more than just like, oh, this t-shirt fits nice, looks nice, but also like there's an art piece to it. There's a, you know, this is Kendrick Lamar's album, or it's like, this is associated with the sport I love. Something like that too is a touch I like to add.
It's like the spaces also that you see them in. Like, for instance, some types of art fit in the athlete realm, but also could fit in the music realm. Could also fit in, like, you know, different types of realm, even, you know, related to art and mental health as well. So that type of representation really means a lot to me. And honestly, what you wear also says, you know, enough about you as well.
Definitely.
Lakeith Stanfield is just a name I'll throw out.
He was ready for that one.
That's such a sub answer.
Oh, you say
Because nobody else was going, Lakeith Stanfield.
my bad. I don't know.
That's just a great, like, it's a great sub answer.
Okay,
I just don't know how else to describe.
Actually, yeah. I'm trying to see the, okay.
Because no one was thinking actors in
I
general.
don't really know what he be doing on.
Check his Instagram.
Just like a calm dude. You know his character in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, but
He just be
that's
going
a
with the
character.
flow, bro. Yeah, but that's part of him. Sure.
I want to get into your career as an one question I've been dying to ask a professional soccer player is
Dying.
how much does the atmosphere actually affect you in game? Like, how much do fans like yelling? How much does like tifos and even like you played at Portland? Like, how much does that like? How much or Seattle? My bad. Like, how much does that
Portland.
Yeah. How much does that affect like your on the pitch performance? Has there ever been a moment where something like took you out of the game? Has there ever been a moment where fans were able to actually spur you on to like play better? Is that something that fans can actually like do to help?
Every player is different.
Got you.
I'll talk about one funny story quickly. One of my teammates in Portland, won't say who, but he was a winger, and he would get into arguments with fans. And the second I saw him arguing, with a fan, I was like, "We're good. We won this game."
Really?
Because something clicks in his head, even more so than when he starts a game in the normal rhythm.
Got you.
For me, I think early on, I was nervous playing in Portland. Like the energy, I'm like, damn. Like
Fans are nuts out there,
they
dog.
are out here, and they're lifting this city on game day. Like you can see people flocking to the stadium from all corners of the town, coming from all over the suburbs as well, and to see how much effort and energy they've brought to the city for as long as they had. And I'm the new person, right? I'm the 19-year-old rookie or 20-year-old rookie coming in trying to get back to MLS Cup because they won in 2015. I'm like, I can't mess up. I cannot mess up. And so that was kind of the early days. Eventually got used to it, and then it was really just a huge motivator for me moving forward. But there's some times when you're in a hostile environment, if they have loud fans, if they have aggressive fans, and if I make like a mistake and that is timed with something being said or some moment in the fans' kind of rhythm, that can knock me off for a few minutes.
Really?
That can knock me off. I think Seattle in 2018, Atlanta in 2018, as Kansas City in 2018, as you can see, 2018 was a growth year. That's when I first started playing games.
I was gonna ask, what would you rather do? Speaking of hostile or supportive environments, would you rather score the goal that has the whole stadium lifted, everyone's going crazy for you, or score the goal that silences the hostile fans? Like, which vibe do you like better?
Yeah, what's your arc?
I'd rather celebrate with my people.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's special.
My people.
Like the city that you play for invests so much in who you are, and to reward them with good moments is something that I won't forget.
Amazing.
I enjoy being a villain too.
Nice.
Got it, bro. Have to.
The Ronaldo fanboy.
Yeah, definitely.
Come out of it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Bro, you're a professional soccer player. You get to do stuff that a lot of people would kill to do. Like, what is it like being able to do something that most people dream about doing for most of their lives? Like, does that weigh on you ever? Like the fact that your career is so desired by so many people?
I think when I was young, it might have a little bit, but it doesn't anymore. I think I'm fortunate and blessed to have achieved what I've achieved so far. And I can't take a single moment for granted, but ultimately I am where I am, and I need to just live in the moment and not necessarily think about what it means to so many different people, like my individual career, and whether it's my friends who might have wanted to have this position. We all have our separate lives, or our separate paths in life, and they all offer different highs and lows at different decades or moments of our trajectories. Right now, I happen to be in a desirable one, but when I'm retired, maybe someone else will be peaking in their careers, and I'll be thinking about maybe I want to be there too. So
yeah,
I just try to keep it in perspective and do the best I can and get the most I can out of my career.
Talking about, being with your people, celebrating with your people, being the co-founder and vice president of BPC, Black Players for Change. Can you talk about what that means to you? And even, the journey within that. I mean, it was great to see, honestly. We were still, going with footy in the footy media space, and to see that, especially during the time that, it was created, it was very encouraging. So I want to hear more.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk for 2 hours about this.
Hey, man.
Let's get it. Hey, extend the time now.
What I'll say is, it's a community, first and foremost, that's advocating for a more representative sport, and thus a better market even for where our teams are at. And it's something that we didn't have before the pandemic. We didn't have before George Floyd, but we have it now, and it's sustainable. It's a place where, every Black player comes in and finds what they need to find, whether it's a support system, whether it's the network, whether it's just the mentorship. There's so many different layers. And as we've seen in so many different things, so many different movements in American history, especially when a mostly Black group advocates for civil rights or equity or opportunity, it's not only on behalf of Black people, but it ends up benefiting so many other underrepresented groups. And I think that that's what we've done. And that's one of the things I'm most proud of at Black Players for Change, alongside our partners, at the league office, within the clubs, within the Independent Supporters Council, and all the fans and all the other players who are constantly texting me like, how can I help? How can I be involved? And I'm like, I don't know in this particular moment, but when I text, let's talk. And to their credit, they've been there. They weren't just there to send a text in 2020. They've been there 2021, 2022, and they'll be there, I'm sure, 2023 and beyond.
It's beautiful. And on the women's side, we have the Black Women's Player Collective as well, BWPC.
Yep,
talk a little bit about the connection you have with them, some of the things that y'all have done jointly, and just kind of what it's like to see the same branch on the women's side really helping out the NWSL in that format.
Yeah, I think that they were in a way even more needed for that space.
Yeah, definitely.
Heavy.
Yeah, and I had the good fortune of getting to know a lot of them through playing in similar markets as them, playing in college, sometimes with some of them as well, and what they've done and the way that they're championing the sport, not only for young girls and women, but also for men and boys, right? Showing that they're the role models, not us. Like, it's not about just inspiring girls, it's about inspiring everyone. And I think that they continue to hit that on a day-to-day basis. And, where we can help, where I can help as an individual, I'll be the first one to do it as often and as strongly as possible. And the sky's the limit when we're working together, when we're working alongside our partners. U.S. Soccer Foundation is a partner that I shout out. We were able to get in together on deals, build mini pitches across the country, activate those mini pitches for clinics, events in cities that are super important to, individual members, as well as, our ecosystem as a whole. So there's a lot more to learn and for us to learn and to grow into, but it's a great start. And where you've seen kind of a lot of money from DEI possibly divested over the last few years, it's great to see that, both our organizations are going strong.
Yeah.
And a question going off that last point, what do you think the league could be doing, I guess, better in order to like not only engage Black communities on the like playing end, like getting them to play soccer, do pickup type style events, but even just grow like the Black fan base? How do you think that
Which league?
the MLS and NWSL as well? What do you think like the leagues here could be doing better to reach like the Black audience, essentially?
Yeah, I go to the individual clubs. The clubs know their market best. They know where each fan is, each future fan is, and how do you have your pop-up events in those communities? How do you encourage kids, families from those areas to come to your games? Is it by being involved in their school through an after-school program? Is it giving away tickets at times? Is it bringing professionals into the community and doing specific community-oriented events so that you can build a rapport and so that you can show people, yeah, no, this is the team that plays in your city and we want to be your team too. Like we're not just the team for this set of fans or that set of people. No, it's about everyone in this city, and different fan bases or different clubs have gone about it in different ways. You know, I look at like an Atlanta and what they've done in their short time in the league and how diverse and culturally engaged that fan base is. I mean, it's cool. It's a show of what many other teams can do as they put resources into it. So I would encourage everyone to think about that.
And what does that look like for the San Jose Earthquakes?
Yeah, I think in San Jose, you know, there's a Black population in San Jose. It's a little bit more spread out within the city. It's not necessarily in one area. There's also Oakland, which is not too far. You know, it's a 45-minute drive without traffic, and I spend a lot of time volunteering there. And I think it's spending resources in those areas, letting them know, hey, we're the Earthquakes. We are the Bay Area's team. We understand that Bay FC is coming in. Oakland roots are firmly implanted, but it's providing an option to be a supporter of the Earthquakes, not because we're trying to take their dollars, but because we represent them as well, and we're present when they're going through whatever they're going through, positive or negative, and we want to share in that community feel by having them out over at our stadium. So when I volunteer with my nonprofits in Oakland, the kids are always like, when can we come to a game? How can we come to a game? Like, get us a bus. And I'm like, damn, imagine if I was able to be at every school and every nonprofit, and they saw me as the professional, and they're like, well, I want to be like Jeremy. I want to follow Jeremy. I want to come to the game. They come to the game, and then they see, you know, Espinosa, they see, you know, Jackson Ewell, they see JT Mars, like whoever it is, and they resonate with something special, and hopefully it brings them back on their own, not just in a group setting.
Representation is everything.
Facts.
Before we get into some would you rathers and some more fun questions, where does this philanthropic, I guess, streak in you come from? Why are you so passionate like about giving back? Where do you think that comes from? Because it's unique, not just you.
And can you tell us more about your philanthropic adventures?
Yeah, I mean, it comes from my family. My family is just, I think, a generous group. We have family all over the world. We're able to share, you know, our lives here in the U.S. with all of them. However that might show up, they're able to share what they have in their specific locations, upbringing, jobs, France, Cameroon, Madagascar. And I think just sharing within family, and then family that's, you know, one layer out, and then another layer and another layer. And then by the time you look at it, you know, the person you're calling family is the person that's like lives 10 minutes away or 15 minutes away and doesn't actually have any blood relation, but they just feel like family, you know? And that's what I think about when I'm going about my career as well. It's how can I create those ties? How can I have someone look up to my career and say, like, that's accessible to me, even if it's not the soccer part of it, if it's the social side of it, the academic side of it, whatever it might be, that's one thing. And there has to be purpose beyond what we do on the field, in my opinion. We're coming in and out of cities, and it's easy not to care about the city that you come into, but I think that if you do that, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're not growing as a person. You're not meeting new people, and it's just it's insufficient in my opinion.
Yeah, speaking of advice and speaking of things that kind of have stuck with you throughout your career, What's the best piece of advice you've gotten from a teammate? I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I think back to my time in Portland. There are just some very good role models in that locker room in so many different ways, on the field, off the field. Some guys who have had experiences all over the world. But something that really stuck with me. I got this piece of advice in a pretty irrelevant time in my career, but he said, you'll never be seen as the player that you can be if you stay at the club that gave you your first contract.
Hey.
Wow.
And that's
so interesting.
Go into that, please.
But that's
a whole topic.
that's scary to hear, because when you join a team, you're like, sure, obviously I have ambitions to go wherever, but you're also like, there's a romance about staying at the same team forever. You look at the Steven Gerrards of the world, and I know he came to Galaxy. You look at like Ryan Giggs.
Yeah.
Totti.
Messi?
Yeah, Totti.
Yeah.
Messi.
Messi, yeah, eventually left.
I mean, but still, like, while we were growing up, we thought he was going to be there forever. And you're like,
Marco Royce.
yeah, you're like, this
that did
is
so well.
like, that could be, you know,
Don't go to Venezia, I guess. No.
that could be a dream. And to have that kind of seed in my mind, it made me think a little bit. And then I'm kind of watching guys come and go and seeing how that goes as well. And then I realized that at some point it was going to be my time. Yeah. And that same person was trying to talk me out of leaving when I did leave.
Of course.
And then I told him, look, the circumstances are what they are. I've been told what I've been told. I've had the dialogue that I've had, and this is what has to be done. It wasn't something that I would have planned for myself, but now that it's here, let's run with it. And
so can you kind of go into that more? You'll never be the player that you are.
You'll never be seen.
You'll never be seen as the player that you should be seen as if you stay at the same club. So what would you be seen as if you stayed at the club? I guess, like, what is the flip side of that?
You'll always be seen as
like the one club guy.
The young kid that we brought up.
I see
the potential.
Yeah,
gotcha. By the actual team organization itself. Got it.
You'll always be seen that way. And I'm not saying that that's exactly how I was seen or anything like that. But as a piece of advice, like, it frames a lot of how you look at other players and the moves that they make when they make. You look at a guy like Mbappe and the moves that he's made. Obviously, PSG is not the team that gave him his first contract, but you wonder if, like, him in that environment in France where he's in total control of what he wants is going to allow him to both reach where he wants to be as well as continue to be elevated in the conversations that he wants to be a part of. Like, what happens if he goes to Real and crushes it over there?
Yeah.
You know, are you looking at him and are people looking at him the same way as if he does what he's continuing to do for PSG? I don't think so.
You're 100% correct.
I was gonna say, like,
100%.
Unless there was a change in the dynamic at that club that gave you the opportunity, because that was very good insight into seeing how the club will look at you, giving you that opportunity. But if people come and go, there becomes a relationship where the club needs you and you are now the leader that has been there and been the most experienced and carry the weight and culture of the club, especially being a United fan.
Rashford, it's changed.
Or like even people like Giggs and people who stayed for a while, especially when, our club was definitely on the down. Does that change, you think, the dynamic then when the club needs you?
I think that there comes to be a point of inflection. And if you can get to that point, like every club, so like, remember, every club's going to be different. Every club's going to have different personalities. Some might see you as like the best player in the world at 21 and throw everything at you and trust you with everything.
Ballon d'Or class.
Right. This was just one guy's experience that he happened to share with me. He left his club at a young age. And again, it gives you a little bit of perspective as you go. But there are definitely people that are exceptions to that theory, and there are others who fall directly in line. They leave the club that they started at, and then they blossom in Europe more than anywhere else too.
I see.
Speaking of that too, just about like changing teams, specifically in the MLS, one thing that makes the MLS unique compared to European footy, for instance, is that you guys have trades. And so what has that experience been like, being on a team where people can get traded at any moment? I've seen in the NBA, people find out that they're being traded on Twitter. So at the same time that the fans are finding out, they're finding out they're traded. So like, what's that experience like with the kind of wherewithal that at any moment, technically speaking, my contract could be flipped and I got to move to who knows where in the country.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think different situations, guys with families, they're the ones that I feel for the most.
Yeah.
I had a collaborative discussion in my process, so I wasn't uprooted 24 hours before having to leave. But it's something that I encourage everyone to be mindful of. Like if someone who gets traded over isn't hitting the ground running right away, like it did just change a lot. Not everyone is, making as much money as you think a professional soccer player might. Like someone's getting traded who is unable to maybe support that burden of like 2 lives in different cities and whatnot. So there's a lot that goes into it, and it's what we sign up for, and we know that it's a possibility, but something that you hope to have as much control over if and when that time comes.
For sure.
Can you speak on that more, like the concept of having to have 2 lives in different cities as a professional athlete? I've never heard that perspective in the media before. So could you like maybe touch more on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways of that. Like whether you're an international player coming in from a country in which your family's not able to come right away, or your family's doesn't want to come for whatever reason. So you're taking care of them at a distance, and the toll that might take, even if you don't realize. Then on the topic of like being traded, you have your apartment, you have your living, you have so many different things, your relationships in another city, but you're focused on your new club and giving them 100%. But you're still going back and forth mentally because you can't just terminate everything that you had in a previous city. So there's that too. Then there's like for domestic players, there's also like your home market and trying to make sure that the people who came up with you still see what you're doing and that you're able to impact them. So there's a lot of layers to it.
And on that same topic, I'm personally curious to hear more about your move to San Jose. How did that come about? And maybe you can't speak necessarily to that, but like, how are you enjoying your time at San Jose at the moment?
Yeah, I'll say the details and all that I'll spare everyone today.
Yeah.
There might be a day where I can have a conversation
For sure.
more openly.
Patreon.
For sure.
Yeah, go to my Substack. No. I'm enjoying the opportunity that San Jose presented. There are a few teams that wanted to bring me in, and I'm fortunate that the career that I had to that point was desired by many clubs. But San Jose was special. I've built such a good relationship with the city, both in San Jose, in San Francisco, and Oakland, in a way that wouldn't have been accessible to me in any other city. Like to have 3 major markets in
Bay
one,
Area. That's what they offer.
in one kind of metropolitan-ish area is something that I never thought would have been possible. So I think there's more to come on the field. We want to win. And as long as I'm there, I will push myself and I'll push my team to get wins and hopefully get trophies like some of the historic teams of San Jose. And then off the field, I'm going to take in everything the Bay has to offer, from the nonprofit side, from the entrepreneurship, finance side, and all of that. And I'm going to encourage every single person that comes into the locker room to think about what that looks like for them as well.
What has been your favorite memory so far with the earthquakes?
I think there's more memories to come.
Fair.
I
Love that.
It's just not, I can't put the weight of a favorite memory right now when I've experienced winning the bubble with Portland, when I've experienced the low of losing MLS Cup, but also the beauty of being supported and understanding what it was like to have a community behind you in that moment. And I think that if I didn't think the Quakes could accomplish something similar, then I'll rest on whatever it was that we done, comeback wins, whatever.
Fair enough.
But I think there's something there.
Fire.
It might be the perfect ending. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit was clean.
Much more to come. Much more to come.
Yeah, next season coming up.
Clip that one up for me.
That's right.
That's why I get him on the podcast, bro. You got a spot on here, dude.
Shall we get into some fun little step would you rather questions?
Yeah.
All right.
For everybody, no?
Yeah, some
I got a
goofy.
list,
Some
but
You
goofy.
can ask us.
Crazy.
You can ask us questions too.
Oh, yeah, anything you want to know,
We just
bro.
pammed you for like an
I'll
hour.
add us.
Facts.
Ready?
Some goofy ones. Some goofy ones.
Hey, comments will say.
What do we have here?
Have to.
This is a good one. On the soccer pitch, as a professional player, would you rather not be able to communicate with your teammates, or would you rather not be able to communicate with your teammates, or would you rather not be able to have your teammates communicate with you? So essentially, would you rather not be able to hear them or not have them hear you?
No, I
You asked that in the most convoluted
well,
way.
you guys know a lot.
And I know why.
Now
but
I
like-
understand why it's a little
safe that
nuts. That's also a little.
I'd rather.
Would you rather-
I'd rather them not hear me. I'm not that important. Like,
Oh, okay.
I'd rather be. Actually, wait.
See? Fair.
I mean, hand
I'll go
gestures.
back.
Yo, I'm trying to think. You said if you can't hear them, my thing is, okay, so I think what I'm gonna need more clarity on
Please, yeah.
is
Everything.
in these, bro, they can't hear you, but you can hear them, yeah. And the other one's, what's the other one?
The other one is the opposite. So
Yeah.
they can't hear you, but you can hear them.
So,
So if
anything
you're
you
talking-
say, like, bro, I'm over here, they don't hear it, but you can hear what they're saying to you.
I'd
What's
rather.
the other
I'd rather
one?
hear what they're saying. to me.
Basically,
I'd rather not hearing them would be very detrimental because of the fact that there's a lot of communication that's going on.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
But
Like,
you can't communicate now. And that takes away from your ability to be a part of the
at the
team.
same time, you're saying obviously hand gestures and whatnot,
Sure,
but
yeah.
not being able to like tell what people are trying to in the flow of play really throws off a lot.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, you could tell a little. You could tell a lot by motion. Like people making
That's what-
runs, people
Yeah.
checking to the ball. Like you know what I'm saying. You may not. If you're playing in a stadium with, and you could talk to it
Yeah, it's
with
loud as-
mad people, you probably can't hear people anyways.
Yeah.
At
Can you
least
hear
to
your
a degree.
teammates?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes.
The ones that are closest to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You can hear midfield line to striker line, but not always back line to front line.
right.
Can you hear a coach?
Depends where you are on the field.
Depends.
Like,
Okay.
the outside backs and wingers can hear him.
So
Yeah.
positionally, I think it's also important.
Yeah.
Because as a
Huge.
striker, as a
Keeper, you're
striker,
probably calm.
I need to be able to call for the ball as a striker. I need you to know that I'm open, I'm in the box.
Keeper, too. You
Yeah.
got to be able to yell. Keeper.
But as a midfielder, perhaps my communication, it's more important that I can hear you guys communicating with me
Then
than
yeah,
me
yeah,
communicating with you. Because as a midfielder, I need to know where y'all are.
Man on though is very important, especially when somebody doesn't have the vision to see what's going on.
That's why as a midfielder, that man on, if I'm like receiving the ball, turning and trying to find space,
But you have to, but the time when somebody else needs that type of guidance.
there's other players. There's 11 others. There's 10 others.
Okay, fair.
So-
No, that's fair.
Interesting.
Mm.
All right.
Well done. Well done. Moving on to our next
Frederick
question.
tried to lead us astray.
I tried to prevent us from.
Nah.
No,
definitely.
you guys did well. Oh, this is a good one. Would you rather play with shoes that are a bit too small or a bit too big?
Nah, that's a good one.
A bit too small any day of the week.
100% too small.
Really?
Because
Yeah.
if my foot's sliding in the shoe or whatever,
Cotton
like,
balls, man.
What?
No, but you don't feel the
Don't expose
end of the
yourself.
shoe.
Bro, when you were young, yeah.
no.
No.
Two socks.
It
I
also just feels a
Cotton
little
balls?
flap. The
Yeah.
bigger shoe just
No,
feels
no,
a
I'm
little
not saying it's
flappy.
bad.
Yeah.
I've never.
I feel like you're wearing a Mickey Mouse costume.
I'd much rather wear a half size smaller than a half size bigger. By the way, my
agree.
shoe size is size 8.5 to 11. In case anyone has some cool shoes that
Yeah, they
they're
should.
wondering about my size, 8.5 to 11.
All right,
Get
send them
off.
through. Send them through.
You said 8.5 to 11.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's a wide range.
That is a crazy range.
That is an insane range.
Does it depend on the brand? Like you wear size 10 boots, size 8.5 cleats? Like what is going on?
No. For footy, you wear 10 or 10.5, depending
Okay.
on the style.
Word.
But when you're out in the streets and you want the latest shoe,
You got forcing it. You forcing it. I respect it.
You
You a
can't be sitting
sneakerhead.
here and saying I want a 10. I want a
Okay,
10.
fair.
Like,
You're a
they'll be like-
sneakerhead then.
they were like,
Alright.
we don't have a 10. It's like, then give me whatever's closest to 10 on either side.
Fair.
8.5. You squeeze an 8.5 if you had to.
You got to curl the toes.
Beauty is paid,
Hey, anything for the drip, bro. Anything for the drip.
Hey,
I hope you.
that's up to-
Hey,
that's
hey,
up to-
Jeremy, I hope you have a podiatrist, bro. Like,
Yeah, like your toes definitely look crazy.
He's a footballer.
His toes have
He's
to
a
look
footballer. His
clean,
feet are
bro.
done
definitely,
already.
bro.
Bro.
Yeah.
Missing
I
mad
think
toenails.
and inside the NBA, they were showing bronze and Shaq, so I was like, woo.
Of course.
Scary hours, bro.
You're running.
Scary
you're running.
hours.
Nah, but to answer, what you call it, a little smaller is definitely, it's a tighter fit. It's
Yeah.
definitely uncomfortable.
It's actually painful.
Yeah.
I wore his boots the other day.
Mm.
When we went to go play pickup, my foot actually wanted to
Hurt.
like
Yeah.
implode.
Nah,
Too
that's
big is
cool.
kind of crazy.
Too big
bro.
is just the touch. Like, you're actually just going to feel like you're galloping.
Yeah.
Your foot is like the shoes over here, bro.
You're kicking your shoe before you kick
Bare
it.
You know what I'm
toe-
saying?
Bare toe
Yes,
balls.
yeah.
Bare toe balls.
Kicking your shoe.
Yeah.
What's
I
your
feel like
answer,
you'd
Seb?
feel like you have less of a connection to the ball.
Of course.
And especially because you want more of like a glove-like fit to the boot.
I'll
Too
deal
big
I'll
is-
deal with too small. Too small
Yeah.
will hurt me a lot, but I'll still be able to contribute to the team. Too big, I'm actually useless. on the
Yeah,
field.
no,
You
definitely.
ain't clowns
I'm
stomping
actually
it. You can't even sprint,
I'm
bro.
actually wearing flippers.
Yeah, flippers,
So-
bro.
First.
Yes, bro.
Definitely.
Alright.
I'm actually scuba diving on the field.
All right.
Yeah.
Nah, you gotta have a snug fit.
Last one. And I know we've sort of answered this before, but never with this verbiage, so we'll try it like this. Would you rather play in extreme cold weather or extreme hot weather?
Dang.
How extreme? On both sides.
Not the most.
So we'll go.
All clarifying questions that matter.
This is hey, yo.
Come on,
it's a
guys.
wavy thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? No,
This is
screw
the
it.
hot
I'm
take.
going
Let
Let me
extreme
get the
cold.
temperature. Actually,
I'm going extreme cold because I feel like I'm less likely to pass out and I can wear mad more accessories. So I can wear the
What?
snood.
less likely to pass out.
Or excuse me, more likely. Let me rephrase that. I'm definitely picking extreme cold because in extreme cold, I'm less likely to pass
I
out.
disagree, bro. I feel like
Bro, the extreme
cold-
heat is known as like you were
I know
done
what you're
for.
saying. I'm gonna
guy's
pass
about to
out.
be-
And in the cold, hold on, in the cold, I can get my long sleeve with the under thermal, with the black gloves, with the snood, you know what I'm saying, with like almost like having a belly on, got the headband with I'm going with
It's
that.
the Spanish blood. That's what keeps them warm.
Spain is hot as fuck.
That's what he said.
Oh, you're saying keeping me warm. Okay.
What?
But those are the people that aren't ready for
He
the
said,
cold though.
dumbass.
No, he's trying to get over you.
No, but I feel like if you're from the heat, you can't handle the cold though.
Bro, allow it, bro.
I don't care. I know what you're saying.
I understood, I
It's
understood.
hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's what?
He said it's funny.
He said it's funny.
That's it.
But do you have thoughts?
I don't know.
What would you
Both are ass.
Yes.
Yeah, both. Oh,
Both are
can
extremely.
I say I've played in the extreme cold? Like we had like
Oh, where? Please, no, tell us.
I'm from upstate New York,
Yep.
and in 8th grade, I'm telling you, this is not a joke. We had like actual multiple inches of snow on the pitch, and my toes were stuck together by the end of it.
Why did you play in that?
And it was so bad. We went up
Love
4-0
the game.
before the snow was coming down crazy,
Was-
and we folded. We still won 4-3, but like we just let.
Was it
Yeah.
windy? Was it windy too?
I don't remember if it was windy, but bro, that was different.
Upstate wind is disgusting, bro.
And then I played in a sectional game too, where it was snowing as well.
I don't know.
Now the code is.
But I can't do 105, 90%
Nah,
humidity.
but-
I actually can't do it, bro.
No, but listen, like the pain that you feel in the cold.
That's what I was gonna
there's
say,
actually, there's actually
bro.
pain that you
Yeah.
feel.
There is. That's true.
There's no pain. Like you'll pass out.
That's why I'm
Yes.
saying how
Pain,
extreme.
The pain when someone like makes contact with you and it's
Bro,
cold,
your ears.
bro. You're done.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
though.
You experience.
I'm
such-
passing
such
out in the
pain
heat though.
from the cold.
If it's 110 humid, I'm passing out.
I
Y'all are all passing out.
I probably played one of the coldest games in MLS history.
Yeah.
Nah, you gotta tell
played in
it.
that?
You gotta tell it. You gotta tell it.
We covered
Put
that.
the picks. Yeah.
Oh, let's start that over. I probably played one of the coldest. Go ahead.
I probably played one of the coldest games in MLS history.
Yeah, bro. I remember
it-
that shit.
I still have the photos
crazy.
saved in Instagram.
Mm.
Like
We're putting that in the clip.
the ref had like, it looked like icicles on his like facial hair or some of the players. The snow was like covering the field in Colorado. Like people had to be shoveling the lines at some points during the game, probably at halftime.
No bueno.
And it started out just like dry cold and like flurries. By the end of it, I was like,
What were the conversations at halftime in the locker room?
I mean, during that time, you're just trying not to think about the cold.
Gotcha.
So I don't even remember if we were talking about it, but after the game, I was like, get me out of here.
Yeah,
and to make matters worse, we conceded up a man. We were up 3-2, conceded in the 94th minute. And in that cold too, I was like, what did we get out of this?
Yeah, like we did all that. I mean, you got a point. You got a
No.
point.
That's not enough, buddy.
That's not enough.
That's a Chelsea fan right there. We got a point.
Hey, fuck it.
When you're winning 3-2,
It's true though.
3-2 in those conditions, you need to get the 3 points. And it started our season off on the wrong note, conceding
Fair,
it.
fair.
Yeah.
So having experienced that, I think the Heat, probably Heat with no humidity.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It depends, bro.
Thinking about the cold for real. Let's say you go for a header,
Nah,
and you
I don't
get-
go for headers.
Let's say you go for a header, and the person misses the ball, heads you in the head, and it's cold out.
You're actually
You're
finished.
done.
Yeah,
bro.
you're braided.
But you're finished regardless, though.
Bro, but you're still done in that way.
Yeah.
the heat is fake fun. I'm not gonna.
No. When it's too much, it's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Because we're
But the
saying
cold is crazier. So
but we're
I don't
saying
agree
too
with
much
you.
on both sides. 110 humid. What are you doing at 110 humid?
Bro,
Let me see y'all run at 85.
no,
You
actually,
just gotta,
Okay,
you just gotta
well,
spray some water on you.
that's all you gotta do.
No. Listen,
No
obviously-
gotta spray some
water.
water
You'll be
on you.
sweating already.
No,
water.
it's a struggle
That's Houston
to-
in the
He
summer.
said no water.
Houston in the summer is tough,
Yeah.
but I'll
It's a
take that over
struggle.
Colorado in its worst in the March.
It's a struggle, like, to run, and obviously, like, it's gonna be harder to breathe. But the cold, bro.
But it's more memorable.
It also depends.
More memorable
When
because
you-
now you got those crazy flicks, right?
When you
flicks are good.
breathe hot, humid air while you're running, like
Carbon
No,
monoxide.
it hurts.
like
It
no,
hurts.
it's hot. Like that
Fuck the cold.
It's carbon monoxide. Well, fuck both of those scenarios.
Nah, facts.
Negative 10. Like,
Depends if I'm playing a league match or if I'm like with my bros. Because if it's mad hot,
Bro,
bro,
don't
I
even
just-
don't even bring
if it's mad hot, I'm not even putting socks on, bro. I'm out there barefoot, bro.
You know, you're looking forward to that. You're like, oh, it's hot.
Yeah, like
Yeah, nah, it's just fun. It's vibes.
you feel me?
It's vibes. Now the cold is uncomfortable, man. I can't.
You guys have inspired me. I have one question for you, which I've asked them before in the past, but since we're talking about like different cultures and climates and stuff, you may know, you may not, but
Sleeves.
no,
Gloves without sleeves.
gloves without sleeves.
Yeah.
Martial.
What I was gonna ask though is, if it weren't for money, if it weren't for like career advancement, is there a country that you'd just be interested in playing soccer in, just at least for one season, anywhere on earth?
Got him with that one.
Take your time.
Yeah,
Take your
you
time.
did.
You can list multiple, of course, or regions even.
I definitely want to play in Cameroon and Madagascar because to play in front of my family on both sides in that setting will be super special, and it's something that I think about in other settings more relevant to my career, but that's for another podcast. Probably those two. Everywhere else, I feel that I would maybe somewhere in South America as well. But I feel like those are places I would play in today.
Yeah.
Interesting. What language do they speak in Madagascar?
Speak Malagasy and French.
Malagasy. Got you.
Wow.
Malagasy is kind of fire.
The
The
more
name-
you know.
What do you know about Malagasy?
The
name is right. Yeah.
You acting like
name.
people speak in Malagasy.
I know.
He saw the Disney
I'm
movie.
fluent,
He saw
bro,
the
I'm
Disney movie.
I know Malagasy names are super long.
Yeah,
but
they are.
That's
Like my mom's maiden name is Rantriambelo,
amazing.
and my Malagasy name is Nirina.
That's really nice.
Nirina.
Just
Beautiful name.
for context,
Yeah.
That's fire.
Is there any meaning?
not that I know of.
Fair.
Malagasy.
You make the meaning. You know what I'm saying?
I might as well start learning Malagasy for real.
Hey, man.
No, you're not.
I swear, bro.
You swear?
I'm gonna hit you on the gram like a year from now. Full Malagasy.
I got like 4 words in me.
All right, bet.
You won't even know he's speaking
That's all we need.
Malagasy.
That's all we need.
That's already.
Hello, Manaona Tupko.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Gotcha.
I mean, I have some other stuff. but-
Speaking of all your cultural influences, so you said you're Cameroonian, you got family in Madagascar, born in France, raised in the DMV. What are some of your musical influences and what you got listening to right now?
Shit, I listen to everything.
Yeah.
A lot of French hip hop,
Okay.
a lot of American R&B,
Yeah.
getting into Afro beats.
Mm.
I would say those are probably the 3 bigger ones. Yeah.
Anything specific for before a game to hype you up?
Before a game, nah. I mean, I got to play with like Big Sean and
Okay.
Logic. Shout out to Gaithersburg DMV.
Yeah.
But nothing inspiring to the masses.
Heard you,
That's
heard
good
you.
stuff, though. That's good stuff.
Amazing.
Big facts.
Hey, man.
Guys, Fitz?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, we talk about our music. I mean, now that we here.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. What y'all been listening to recently?
I wanted to ask a series of questions for music this week instead.
Sure.
Oh, I had one too, but
What?
is it the Keenan and Elite Chopper shit?
Absolutely not.
Okay, because I was gonna relate that to who would be the best footballer artist.
Well, we could save mine for another week because I will want y'all to prep this one a little.
Okay,
All right.
I'll do the Keen one.
Sure.
Yeah, but speaking of music, speaking of football, Moise Keane was just pictured with NLE Choppa, a rapper from the South in the U.S. So my question for y'all is, and you don't have to put that much thought into it, but
Okay.
which footballers do you think would be the best music artists, whether it's hip hop, R&B, Afrobeat, et cetera, et cetera? You know, guys like Memphis Depay make some music. We just saw a couple of dudes with footballer fits rapping. I think it was Iwobi and somebody else. Onana from Belgium.
Yeah.
Anybody out there can make some tunes. Rafa Leao, we know.
Yeah.
Wait, 45.
608.
Jeremy.
Jeremy who?
Jeremy? What kind of music would you make, Jeremy?
Nah.
You don't know? Nah, too much?
I'll do something with the piano. With the
Yeah,
little
yeah.
team.
That
There you
counts,
go, there you
bro. Let me hear that in the cafe when I walk in.
Zaytoven.
Yeah.
I'll be behind the scenes, propping up the musician, or
Okay.
the singer, the rapper.
Producing matters.
That's a tough question. I'm not gonna lie.
So, are you asking us to come up with someone that you didn't just list?
Up to you. Make it your own, bro.
I'm trying to think of any footballers that like to sing.
Onana, angelic voice.
He's talented.
Tell you what, I got to give a shout out to my college best friend.
Yeah.
Macario Hinglover playing out in China.
Yeah.
FMHG. The Duke soccer, the Duke men and soccer team know who that, men and women's soccer team know all about that. You know, he came in doing his thing. He was rapping in high school and then, you know, brought it to college. Had a fire song that was playing at the local bar. So
That's right.
giving it a little throwback.
Yeah.
Probably, I wonder if he sees it.
Hey, man, Duke legend.
I'm going with Dominic Calvert-Lewin because when I saw
What?
wait for it though.
He's good on the fashion.
He's really good on the fashion. He's in his artsy shit. You said what?
I said you just typecasted him.
How?
Well, please explain.
So, shout out Footballer Fits again. They were talking to a bunch of different footballers about their music tastes. They all gave, you know, cool answers, but a little bit generic. When DCL says Smino, I said, that boy knows music. We already know he's very influential with fashion. He's breaking boundaries. I'm like, being that kind of eclectic person and having that kind of taste, especially internationally, I think somebody like that could make some good music. So I would say DCL.
That's fair. Trying to think of who, because I'm not trying to just go off persona. You're saying people who don't rap already, right?
Oh, you bet.
I want to see what King got in his.
Yeah?
Nah, for sure. King. I
King?
want to see what Moise got in his.
He got some bars, no doubt.
Like, I'm
And
not,
he already dropped something before though.
No, he got something in there.
nah,
Oh,
for
what's his
I'll
name?
say
Tim Ware? I haven't.
Cole Palmer.
Oh, definitely dance
going
hall,
crazy
dance hall.
on the
Yeah,
dance hall.
bro, for sure.
Crying, son.
I'm saying kids.
I would say,
Look for real though.
I know.
Bro.
I
Catch
would
him in
say-
CONCACAF.
Yeah,
Why you
right.
guys laughing?
Come
a
on.
lot of-
No, I was saying Cole Palmer's from St.
Oh, yeah.
Kitts.
said, wait,
I know, I know, I know,
Yeah,
I know what I said.
and he was saying he's playing CONCACAF.
I think one even way that I'm thinking of answering this question is like footballers that can speak a lot of different languages, because that might tie them into having
Yeah.
overall music taste that's, you know, pretty wide. I don't know. I don't know if I can see Pogs being a good artist, but he speaks a lot of languages, no?
Yeah.
Like one of the most.
Yeah, Romelu
He's an
too.
entertainer.
Romelu as well.
Get what I'm trying to say?
Mhm.
Look at his United announcement video with Stormzy
Definitely.
with the old dabbing and whatnot. Nah, he could have done his thing back in the day.
Y'all got to get me in a music video.
Yeah, yeah.
Say that.
Hey,
We're
listen.
working on it ourselves.
You trying to get in one?
Yeah.
It's gotta be Larry June, bro. Bay Area shit.
You get me
For
in
sure.
a Larry June music video, I'll follow you guys out.
Come on, bro. Back in the Cadillac, just bobbing with the shades
Hey,
on. Heavy.
we got that
Heavy.
on camera.
Yeah, come on. Wait, you saying any music video?
No, he said Larry June.
Because I can get you in a music video by tonight, bro.
I can get that too.
It might not be Larry June.
I had,
Okay, Larry
I had
June,
people in
'cause
high
I'll get
school
you in a
handing me
video,
their
bro.
mixtapes. Like,
Definitely.
All you gotta do is walk out the block, bro. It's a video in Brooklyn every night.
Facts.
Yeah, definitely Ace Man. Vanessa. Crying.
Like, nah, man, it's been good. It's been good catching up, man, with y'all.
Heavy.
Appreciate your time, Jimmy, too.
Yeah,
Any
bro.
question you have for us?
Yeah, ask
I'm
us away,
saying.
bro.
And if you've seen our clips,
Are we your favorite podcast?
you guys are the most energetic podcast.
Oh, damn.
amazing.
In a positive way. Nah. I mean, like when I normally pull up to podcasts, it's pretty serious, stoic, whatever. Like
yeah.
getting into the weeds. We still get into the weeds here, and we have fun. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that about you guys. And I joke around about the hot takes, but I mean, it stirs discussion. You know, so it's a pleasure to make it into the hot take machine. Leave intact
Give us
without too
one,
many
bro.
hot takes.
Give us one.
You're getting canceled right after this.
Give us one hot take.
I don't have one.
All right, I'll give you a few, and then you tell me, evaluate some
I'll
of them
give
real
you
quick.
a few.
In terms of, okay, well, how about this one? Do you think that it would be beneficial for the MLS's growth if teams had face-offs before matches?
Dude, it's so crazy.
What kind of face
That one is horrible.
Boxing face-offs.
No.
You said you said no.
What are your thoughts on relegation?
Open to it.
Okay.
That's why he doesn't have hot takes. He's like,
Yeah.
that could be okay.
Yeah. He's thinking
No. I mean,
Yeah, like,
I understand the practicality of it based on the system right now is challenging.
Yeah.
But I think it would be very cool to one day have a world in which it made sense for everyone, the people who have put up and built this system that allows us to play, as well as, you know, the fans who continue to do it as well. So you got to think through these things. You can't just
Say something.
say something.
I guess a hot take that's not too serious. What's one football commandment that you grew up living by that maybe other people didn't play? Like in terms of play style that you didn't see other people. Like for instance, like, I don't know, we were joking about in the car, but I was like, if you make one man, go and make another.
Joga bonito.
You know what I mean? Like what's one thing that is always in your head like, nah, nothing?
Don't have one.
Stable.
Saying,
Solid.
hey man,
Steady, brother.
I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you guys.
you tried.
Of course.
Y'all might have to clip this up creatively or drop two parts because we ran for like an an hour.
Nah, we're always creative with it, bro. It's not
Yeah,
a worry.
For sure.
Fitz and get out of here.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah, so thank you, Jeremy. He already broke down his fit, dripped out in the Neighborhood Sports Club, but as we always
Shout
tell
out
y'all-
Neighborhood Sports.
Shout out Neighborhood
Shout out
Sports
Neighborhood
Club, bro.
Sports
Shout out.
Club.
Let's clap it up for Max and them one time. You know what I'm saying? That's gang right there.
Cafe Olé.
Cafe Olé, y'all But self-described best dressed podcast in the game. We got to break down what we're wearing today, Josh. I'll pass it off to you
For
first.
sure, for sure. We got Golimpico on the tee. Got Ballers on the chest. NSC on the pants as well. Got 17 the brand. Check them out. I got them on the socks and I got Jordans on the kicks.
Yazerski. Golimpico on the tee, the black version of the legends in stained glass. Once again, we got Cruyff, Cantona, R9, Zinedine Zidane, Thierry Henry, Dino, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Leo Messi. Diesel on the pants, some jewelry as always, and then these Nike Air Maxes that don't even tie. They just have like a clip at the top. So that's what I'm wearing today. Work fit. MLS did. What we got on,
I'm
bro?
coming straight from the office. I'm coming straight from the office.
Hey, that's a hustle.
Someone's got to work in this.
Someone's got to work in this.
Hey, y'all see me post having a pull up in that too.
The pants are Japanese though. Don't get that twisted.
Come
Blue
on.
and green. Soho.
You still look good, bro.
Pants is
Loafers is on.
Japanese.
What's that called?
Tapered.
Tapered.
What's it called?
The brand?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Bro,
I'll tell you
check the
later.
tag.
But they're Japanese.
I can
Check
look it
the
up.
tag.
I
It's
can-
all-
It's all good.
Hey, he got the loyal one on here. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I
Nah,
got you.
it's
I got
cool.
you.
Shirt.
It's cool.
Sebi.
Me next. Vintage little Italy top, Nike. Only I have this. Some H&M. I don't know, pants and then Pumas on the feet. Sells.
I thought he wasn't wearing Puma today.
Never.
I was like, those look different, and they're still Puma. Yo, cut
Those
this
are
man.
hard.
They're
Are
hard,
those
right?
new?
They're actually crazy. I was like,
$30 on eBay. Yo, I'm gonna start doing an eBay segment. I think.
you should, bro.
I'm
What?
gonna start doing that.
Thrift
Only.
finds. That's a real thing.
Oni, O-N-I.
Oh, and
Yeah.
No, they actually did a collab jersey with some of my people.
Really?
That's
I
lit.
think.
That's crazy. Put us on, bro.
And yourself to take us away.
We've been through it.
Oh,
You
that's
want me to
true.
go back?
Yeah, why
Oh,
not?
I forgot about the rings.
Okay.
$2 from a store in
Yes,
Salt Lake
sir.
Mall.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Shout out Utah.
Yes, sir.
Trying to get into the wrist and finger accessory game.
Facts.
Okay.
Shout out to my Aura ring.
Mm,
You know, helping me track my health.
Defo. They didn't even know that shit was functional.
that's true.
It's,
Saying?
it's functional.
Hey,
Fire.
I got to upgrade though. So if you're listening to this and you want to work something out,
yeah.
let's get me to the next generation.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
me? I already work with the Timberwolves. Like, cut the check, bro. Come on.
It's true.
But nah, thanks again for coming through, Jeremy. Really appreciate you. It's been episode 44 of the 5ASIDE podcast.
Yes, sir.
Peace. 5 up, 5 down.
Yeah,
Step
yeah.
it up. Yes, sir.
Lots of claps.